Okay, let's picture this. A 16-year-old girl, Ayanna Sawyer, you know the type, seemed like she had everything going for her. Super responsible, straight A's, already making college plans.
Right, her family called her their light and joy. She was the reliable one.
Exactly. And then December 19th, right before lunch, maybe 11 a.m., she leaves school.
And just vanishes. Poof, gone.
It wasn't like her at all, right? This immediately felt wrong.
Oh, absolutely. Her phone went straight off, no bank transactions, nothing. She hadn't even picked up her paycheck from Chick-fil-A.
That's a big deal for a teenager.
It is. And her mother, when she called the police, she just knew. She had this, deep gut feeling that something was really terribly wrong. Not just missing, but wrong.
And then as they started looking, this huge secret surfaces.
Yeah, a really big one. Ayanna was pregnant, nearly 6 months along.
Wow. And she'd only just told her family.
Just days before she disappeared. And crucially, she didn't say who the father was.
Okay, so that changes everything for the investigation. Where did they look first?
Well, naturally, suspicion fell on people close by. There was a neighbor, Kamar Humphrey. He was 20. Ayanna was 15 when they'd apparently been involved earlier.
Ah, so there was a history there. Police knew about it.
They did. Because she was a minor, it had been reported. And get this, a sexual assault kit had actually been done back then.
Okay, so they had potential evidence from before she even went missing.
Exactly. But here's the first kind of twist. The DNA results from that kit came back. It wasn't Kamar Humphrey's DNA.
Seriously?
Yeah. It belonged to some unidentified male. At the time, it was just this weird, confusing detail. But later, incredibly important, just add another layer of mystery when she disappeared.
So let's recap. Responsible girl, vanishes, she's pregnant, secret father, and this old DNA evidence pointing to someone unknown.
It's a lot. It really sets the stage for a deeply unsettling story. We've looked at the sources to piece together how this whole thing unfolded.
And how they eventually got to the truth, which
Yeah.
was much darker than anyone guessed.
Often, the first real clue doesn't come from the official channels, it comes from the family.
Right, someone close doing their own digging.
And that's what happened here. Ayanna's mother, just devastated but determined, she started going through Ayanna's computer, looking for anything.
And what she found, it must have just, stopped her heart.
It sounds like it. She found a document, a letter, 3 pages, single-spaced, written by Ayanna,
Who was it to?
a man she called Jose.
Jose. Okay, not a name they recognized.
Not immediately, no. The letter itself, though, it described this secret relationship, her feelings, the sex, the pregnancy. She even mentioned being annoyed with her younger sister sometimes.
Wow. Did she say why she kept it so secret?
Yeah, the conflict in her writing was so clear. She actually wrote, and this is from the sources, "I wanted to tell someone so bad, but I didn't want to get you in trouble."
Oh, man. So she was protecting Jose, protecting him fiercely.
Totally. She hadn't even told her best friends who he was, completely isolated with this huge secret.
But someone else must have known who Jose was, right?
Apparently, yes. The only other person who knew his real identity was Ayanna's younger sister.
And she kept quiet.
For days, yeah. Maybe scared, maybe confused loyalty, who knows. But eventually, as hope started to fade, she couldn't hold it in anymore. She told the police.
And this reveal must have just shattered everything.
Completely. Jose wasn't some kid from school. He wasn't the neighbor. He was their uncle,
Wait, their uncle.
Jonathan Quiss, 33 years old, married to Ayanna's aunt, Naomi.
No, the uncle who was supposed to be this great guy.
That's the one. Portrayed as super supportive, a stay-at-home dad, often watched the girls. They described him like a dad figure, here to save the world. He taught Ayanna to drive, took them places.
This is sickening.
The reality was horrifying. He'd been sexually assaulting Ayanna for years. He was the father of her baby. The danger wasn't outside. It was right there, in the family.
So after 11 days, the case officially shifts.
Yeah, it gets handed over to homicide. And their focus is now laser sharp on Jonathan Quiss. Not just his family, but as the prime suspect. And the likely father.
Detective Billy Abbott takes the lead.
He does. He and his team go to talk to Jonathan and his wife, Naomi. And right away, during that first chat, something clicks for Abbott. Something feels really wrong.
What was it?
He's talking to Naomi about what Ayanna might have taken with her, if she's left. Naomi mentions Ayanna only took her most prized possessions.
Okay. Which
Her
one?
Victoria's Secret underwear.
Right.
But then, as they're discussing this, Jonathan, who's sitting nearby, he kind of laughs and chimes in.
What did he say?
He said, yeah, 38 pair.
Every 8. He knew the exact number.
That's what hit Detective Abbott, like a ton of bricks. He apparently wrote 38 pair in his notes. It wasn't just knowing she liked the brand. Any family member might know that. It was knowing the precise count.
That's incredibly specific.
Creepy, deeply inappropriate, a huge red flag. Not proof of murder, obviously, but it screamed that something was very, very wrong with that relationship.
Oh, between that comment and the letter to Jose, they get a search warrant.
They do. For Jonathan and Naomi's house, when they show up, the family may be still in denial or something. They initially give them a tour, like, see, she's not hiding here.
But then Ayanna's mom arrives.
Right, and she's got the laptop.
With the letter?
The letter to Jose. Once police saw that, connecting Ayanna directly to Jonathan, mentioning the pregnancy, the evidence of this secret, disturbing relationship was undeniable. It looked like they were ready to arrest him then and there.
But they didn't. He was released.
He was, yeah. It sounds crazy, but despite everything, the letter, the creepy comment, the suspicion they didn't have enough direct evidence right then linking him to her actual disappearance or, potential death, is complicated.
So he walks free, but the focus is entirely on him now. What's the next move for homicide?
They need something concrete, something scientific. Detective Abbott goes back to Jonathan. This time, he asks for consent for a DNA sample.
Does Jonathan lawyer up? Refuse.
Nope. And this is another weird part. He agrees, just like that. Sources say he replied, absolutely, seemed totally confident.
Maybe thought he was clever, that they wouldn't find anything.
Could be, or just thought cooperating looked good. But Abbott knew this was crucial. He rushed that sample off for testing.
And this connects back to that earlier DNA sample, the one from the Kamar Humphrey investigation.
Bingo. This was the absolute game changer. The results come back, and they are stunning.
Let me guess.
Jonathan Quiss's DNA is a match. It matches the unidentified male DNA from that sexual assault kit collected way back in March 2018.
Wow. So the uncle was the mystery DNA contributor from the start. Confirmed. Yeah.
Scientifically, unequivocally, he was the father. This instantly cleared Kamar Humphrey, too, who turns out wasn't even in town when Ayanna disappeared.
That's huge for the investigators.
Massive. Now, it wasn't just suspicion or a letter. It was hard genetic proof, linking Jonathan directly to the relationship, the pregnancy, everything.
Okay, so now they confront him with the DNA proof. How does he react then?
Still denies it. Plays dumb. Says there's 100% no way his DNA could be on her underwear. Insists he'd never, ever been disrespectful to his wife.
But the DNA doesn't lie.
Exactly. It was damning. But, DNA confirms the relationship, the fatherhood, not necessarily murder. They still needed more.
Did another break come?
A huge one. And from the inside, again, Jonathan's own brother, Joseph Quince.
His brother came forward. That must have been incredibly difficult.
Unimaginable. But Joseph went to Detective Abbott, and he told him Jonathan had confessed.
Confessed to what?
To killing Ayanna.
Oh my God, why?
Jonathan told him it was because she was pregnant. He wanted to save his own skin, terrified the family would find out.
How did the confession happen?
Joseph described Jonathan calling him panicked, saying he had a huge problem and didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
Then later that same day, Jonathan calls back.
And says?
He says the problem was taken care of.
Taken care of? Well, her family is out of their minds with worry. It's just cold. Did his wife Naomi notice anything strange about his behavior then?
Disturbingly, yeah. Naomi told investigators that after Ayanna vanished, Jonathan slept like a baby.
While everyone else was frantic. That's chilling. Was there anything else going on with Jonathan Quiss around this time? Other investigations?
There was. Even before Ayanna's murder came fully to light, he was already being investigated for sexually assaulting another minor.
Another one.
Their babysitter. He was actually arrested on that charge first, which is how he ended up in jail initially. It showed this awful pattern.
Okay, so he's in jail on a separate charge. This gives investigators an opportunity, right?
It does. They decide to use a jailhouse informant. Place someone in his cell, wearing a wire, hoping Jonathan might talk. It's a risk, but they needed something more, especially without Ayanna's body.
Did he talk?
Did he ever? According to the sources, day 2, he starts talking to the informant, and once he started, he just couldn't stop.
What did he confess? The details.
Horrifying detail. He laid it all out. How he picked Ayanna up from school that morning, around 11 a.m., just like the timeline suggested.
What excuse did he give her?
Told her they needed to go away for a few days, talk about their upcoming child.
Mm-hmm.
He took her to his workplace, East Pickle Park.
And he planned to kill her there.
That was the plan. He told the informant he tried to choke her first, but said he didn't have the stomach for it.
So
So he shot her. Left her body there overnight. Then later, he took her remains and dumped them in a landfill.
did he say why? Why kill her instead of facing the music?
He admitted he tried to get her to have an abortion. She refused. He told the informant that at that point he knew it was go time, either face the consequences or get away with it by killing her.
Just pure self-preservation. Unbelievable. Was there any other evidence about their relationship itself?
Yeah, investigators found Snapchat messages between them.
Snapchat. Because the messages disappear.
Exactly. He thought it was private. The messages showed, texting, jealousy, Ayanna clearly heartbroken sometimes, and threats from him.
What kind of threats?
Really disturbing stuff. Things like, "You're stuck with me until you die," and just chillingly, "I'll kill you and cry then."
He actually wrote that.
He did. Ayanna, tragically, had saved some of these messages. Maybe she knew deep down. But saving the messages didn't save her life. Sources really emphasized that her biggest mistake was just trusting him, trusting her uncle.
Okay, so he confessed he put her body in the landfill. Did they search?
Oh yeah, a massive search. Police spent days digging through that landfill. Grueling, heartbreaking work.
Did they find her?
No. Tragically, they never recovered Ayanna's remains, but they did find something.
What?
Several pairs of her Victoria's Secret underwear.
The 38 pair clue again in the landfill?
A truly haunting piece of confirmation.
Yeah.
So with the DNA, the brother's testimony, the Snapchats, his own detailed confession, Jonathan Quinns was arrested for first-degree murder.
But getting to trial took time.
It did. 5 long years from when Ayanna vanished until Jonathan Quinns, then 33, faced a jury for her murder and the murder of their unborn child.
What did the prosecution present at trial? It sounds like they had a lot.
They had a very strong, multi-layered case. The DNA match was obviously huge. The Snapchat messages, some read aloud by Detective Abbott, were incredibly powerful.
Hearing those threats read in court.
Must have been devastating. Then there was testimony from Ayanna's family, confirming the relationship, talking about how we hugged her like a mate, not a niece. Joseph Quest testified about the confession, and importantly, they also heard from 2 other victims of his sexual assaults.
Showing that pattern of behavior.
Exactly, establishing him as a predator.
So after all that evidence, what did the jury decide?
It was fast, shockingly fast. After 5 years of waiting in a trial full of this awful evidence, they took just minutes.
Minutes to find him guilty.
Just minutes. Guilty of first-degree murder.
And the sentence? The state wanted the death penalty, right?
Okay. They did seek it. But ultimately, he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Life without parole, so he's never getting out.
Never. And for the investigators, while maybe not the death penalty, getting that life sentence, ensuring he couldn't hurt anyone else, that felt like justice served. Unraveling a case like this, piecing together secrets and lies, it takes incredible effort. If you find yourself compelled by these kinds of complex investigations, exploring the darker side of things, you might find more deep dives like this on the Dead Quiet Crime podcast.
And throughout all of this, Ayanna's family had to endure the unimaginable.
Their victim impact statements were just gut-wrenching. Ayanna's mother, Kimberly Moy, she talked about the future stolen. Not just Ayanna's, who'd be 22 now, but her unborn granddaughter, Hazel. She would have been almost 6.
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
Her mother said it so starkly. She wasn't in an accident, but she didn't fall ill. She was murdered. Just lays bare the brutal reality of it.
This has been a really tough deep dive. A story of just profound betrayal within a family, manipulation, and the absolute tragedy of losing Ayanna and her baby.
It's a chilling reminder, isn't it? That the worst dangers can hide in plain sight, behind a familiar face, within the family circle where you should feel safest. And it shows the sheer persistence needed from investigators. They had to follow every little clue, rely on science, get that confession, even without finding Ayanna herself. Cases like this, they really stick with you. They change you, as the investigators often say.
Absolutely. It makes you think about hidden lives, the impact of secrets, and just the strength it takes to push for truth in such devastating circumstances. Thanks for going through the sources on Ayanna Sawyer's case with us today. It's a story that deserves to be remembered. If you want to continue exploring compelling stories that get beneath the surface, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel.